The Philadelphia Eagles final 53 or initial 53-man roster is in the books. Want to go over what I don't like, what I do like. Just go over this whole entire thing. So let's get into it.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Well, guys, it's been a long road, and the Eagles finally got the 53-man roster finalized. This is the initial 53-man roster, so a lot of things, some things will change. Obviously, the practice squad, once we find out who they sign the practice squad, hopefully some guys coming back, and some trades that could still happen, and things I definitely want to talk about with this list as of right now. So let's get over the 53-man roster right now, okay? At quarterback, Jalen Hurts, Gardner Minshew. Howie Roseman has already talked about adding another quarterback through waivers. Thank God Sennett's gone, and the whole Carson Strong thing was one big joke, and I've never seen a quarterback treated like this throughout the whole entire preseason and not getting reps at all, or not even giving him a shot. So adding another quarterback to make a number 3 quarterback for your camp, most likely for the practice squad, will make a lot of sense. Running backs, Kenneth Gainwell, Miles Sanders, Boston Scott. I like this group, but Miles Sanders still has a hamstring injury, and they got to add a power back. Obviously, a trade for Alexander Madison, Kareem Hunt, Jordan Howard in free agency. I mean, you still have Latavius Murray out there. Sony Michel still out there. There's a lot of running backs available for the Eagles to pick and choose. So if they don't go after another running back, I'll be shocked. But they need a power back, because those third and shorts have killed us in preseason, where we have to do the play twice to even try to get past the line. We don't have a big enough back to get a one and done through the line and score. I mean, or get a first down. I mean, we need those short yardage backs. We need somebody to come in and be physical, and we just need that fourth option. And I'm not comfortable with this. Like I said, with Miles Sanders being hurt, I don't think the Eagles trust him staying healthy, and I feel like the Eagles have still been trying to look for a running back, and I think there's plenty of options out there as of right now. So running back's definitely one I'm looking for a trade or a sign. Wide receivers, that kept 5. Okay, you have, I don't know if Covey got cut or not. I mean, he must have got cut because he's not on the list as of right now. Allen got cut, will probably be on the Eagles practice squad. Apparently, the Eagles really want Deon Cain to come back, so Deon Cain could come back to the practice squad most likely. I kind of wanted Deon Cain to make this roster, but it is what it is. A.J. Brown, Zach Pascal, Jalen Reagor, Devontae Smith, and Quez Watkins. Reagor's still here, okay? A lot of rumors have been going out with Reagor. His trade market's been heating up, and I feel like the Eagles had to put him on the roster. They had to put him on the roster so they could deal him, because they can't just not put him on the roster. So if maybe they haven't got a trade done yet, still in discussions. We've heard about the Vikings. Vikings apparently had a lot of interest, so I don't know what other teams have really been named interest-wise, because I haven't really heard much of anything, but it's been very quiet when it comes to which teams are actually involved. But apparently his market there's definitely a lot of interest with Reagor right now. Howie Roseman at his press conference today or yesterday, whenever you're watching this video, talked about, he definitely deserved to make this team, saying all the PR good stuff about Reagor showing up to practice every day. And I don't get how this guy will be the 5th receiver, man. I just to this day, I just don't get it. Howie Roseman has done everything right this offseason, probably one of the most memorable offseasons. If we can match this with our regular season, holy crap, what a good year this is going to be. But Derek Barnett was one I didn't like too much, but I understand why they did it, but I'm giving him another chance. And hopefully doesn't, hurt us in the end with him being on the roster. And then having Reagor here, where he can't even contribute to special teams. He just can't contribute, period. So what makes you think as a number 5 he's even going to hit the field? So why? Because he's a first-round pick, because he's only played 2 years and they want him to play one more year into his 3rd contract? I just don't believe it. I feel like nothing's set in stone with Jalen Reagor being here. I really don't. I feel like they want to bring Deon Cain back, but they had to keep Reagor on the roster to deal him, and then they will bring Cain back as a number 5. That's how I feel like it's going to happen. I really do. So we'll get back into this definitely later. Tight ends, Grant Calcaterra, Dallas Goedert, Jack Stahl. Definitely mentioned they were going to keep 3 tight ends this year. Jack Stahl, great blocker, but I want to see him more of the receiving game. I didn't think I'd seen enough, or maybe he just needs to be better. But Grant Calcaterra, I'm actually really happy he made it. I am. Richard Rodgers was a total disaster. I didn't want him coming back. And Togi, I don't think did much either. But Calcaterra missed a lot of time since July 30th. And then right before the Miami joint practices, he was, limited. And then he was a full go for that final preseason game. And I thought he played really well, other than an overthrown ball from Sennett when he was wide open, could have got another first down for a lot of yards. I think the Eagles like Calcaterra a lot, and I'm really happy he made the roster. Definitely one of my favorites that made the roster today, so I was very excited. So the Eagles kept 10 offensive linemen, 10. They kept a lot of offensive linemen, so which isn't a bad thing. You have Land Dickerson, Andre Dillard, Jack Driscoll, Lane Johnson, Cam Jurgens, Kelsey, Jordan Mailata, Sua Opeta, Isaac Samalo, and Josh Sills. I mean, look, the more depth you have, the better you're going to be. LaRaven Clark is gone because I just think he was horrible. He was hurt. When we acquired him a couple years ago, he came off an ACL. He was hurt twice last year, and I think he got hurt again this year once very early, and then he was healthy, but was getting beat at practice every single day. So I like this group. The more depth, the better. The Eagles want to keep as much offensive line depth as possible. And if the Eagles want to make more room or something that they want to get rid of, like a Josh Sills or something like that, to open up some, for another player, for another position, because I think that it could change. With Josh Sills being there, I think the Josh Sills thing, I think he'll end up getting released or cut at some point when they want to add another body to another position. So we'll see with that, but I'm not surprised they kept that many, but I mean, it's a lot. So I'm glad they're trying to get as much depth as possible. Defensive line-wise, they kept 9. We have Derek Barnett, Fletcher Cox, Jordan Davis, Brandon Graham, Javon Hargrave, Teron Jackson, Josh Sweat, and Marlon T. Marlon T became the number. Where is Milton Williams on this list? Is there more on the bottom? Okay, his name's right there. I was about to flip out for a second, like, where the hell is Milton Williams at? So yeah, I have Marlon T being the number 5 defensive tackle. So that made sense. Rennell Wren, I think, ended up getting released. He's going to be on practice squad most likely, which I kind of figured. Derek Barnett on the edge, Fletcher Cox inside, Hargrave, Graham, Sweat. Yeah, you're pretty much set, man. Teron Jackson hopefully have he had an okay year last year, and hopefully it gets a little bit better this year. And I think Milton Williams going to his second year. See him at the end of the 2021 season against the Cowboys, and how he, the Eagles kept all their stars out. He got a lot of reps at DT and defensive end. I thought he played really, really well against that starting O-line for the Cowboys. So I'm excited for going to him here in his second year. So I'm happy with defensive line group so far. I'm good with it. I am fine with it. Now you have linebackers keeping 8. I think they kept more linebackers this year than they did last year. I think they only kept 6 or 7 last year. They kept keeping 8 running backs, which I think this whole group is going to be here, besides maybe Patrick Johnson not being in the mix. But we'll see. You have Sean Bradley and Kobe Dean, TJ Edwards, Kyron Johnson, Patrick Johnson, Hassan Reddick, Davion Taylor, and Kaiser White. So obviously having Reddick as listed as a linebacker. Kyron Johnson has played more linebacker than he did defensive end, which I thought he was going to be more of a rotational defensive end, but it looks like they might not use him there. They might put him there, maybe, who knows, at some point. But this linebacker group is night and day from what we've seen before free agency started. And this group, you have Nakobe Dean coming in as a 3rd-round pick and hopefully making big noise this year, the future of our linebacker core. Kaiser White, very excited for. I think he's one of the most underrated signings that we've had this past year. Davion Taylor really didn't amuse me too much during preseason. I didn't think he played really well. I didn't at all. Patrick Johnson had the 1 sack. That was really the one noticeable play he had on Tua in the Miami game. And TJ Edwards is a free agent after this year. So there's going to be a lot of decisions to be made between Kaiser White and TJ Edwards becoming free agents after this year. And like I said, it's a night and day from what we've had for the past few years. It is night and day group. And I got to say, I'm very excited. We actually have linebackers. We actually can keep this group going into next year, and how he can make some decisions on who he wants to re-sign. Because I think a linebacker we sign, and obviously we'll be signing, our new safety and Garner as well. So we'll see what happens. But the linebacker group is fantastic. Cornerback 6. Okay, so I figured they're going to keep 6. as well. James Bradbury, Josh Jobe, Avonte Mag, Zach McPherson, Josiah Scott, Darius Slay. I like the group a lot. Josiah Scott, shined a little bit in preseason. He was playing pretty good, actually. Zach McPherson and Josh Jobe were both on the second team defense, and I think Jobe made a lot more noise towards the end of training camp, the preseason. So I thought, I want to see what Josh Jobe has down the line. Maybe not this year, but maybe into next year to see what he's got. You know what I mean? So it's a good group at the end of the day. And safety, I was very interested in this. Okay, now you have Reed Blankenship, Marcus Epps, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Kevon Wallace. Okay, now trading for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, only trading 5th, 6th round picks, it was a total fleece. I mean, fleece. Not only do you have a leader for this team, I mean, the last time we traded for a safety from the Saints, look what happened in Malcolm Jenkins. I think with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, you have leadership, you have swagger. This guy is one of the biggest bullies I've ever seen, and I love it. Okay, and he is going to play fantastic. Obviously, he's had more snaps in the nickel than he has at safety, but I like him as a safety. Is there a bigger difference? Not really. I mean, maybe some of the coverages are different, obviously, and who you're facing may be different, but at safety, he's got more free roam to do whatever he wants, whatever the Eagles are going to have him do, whatever Jonathan Gannon is going to have him do, I don't know. But him and Marcus Epps are going to be a nice duo, and I'm very excited I think Marcus Epps is going to look a lot better as a role-playing safety and solidify himself a little bit better this year, being next to a stud in Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Kevon Wallace, I don't know why he's here. I really don't. I don't know if I would have kept Kevon Wallace than Anthony Harris. Now, Anthony Harris was released first, and then they made the trade. They should have kept Anthony Harris's depth. That's what I felt like they should have do. So it should be Blankenship, Marcus Epps, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and at least Anthony Harris, at least for veteran depth or something like that. Unless he didn't want to be here and said, I don't want to be a backup. I don't want to be a backup this year to 2 safeties. So I don't know what they're doing. But one I'm very excited about and happy about is Reed Blankenship. He deserved it. Okay, not only did he make plays on special teams, but he made plays as a safety too. He's got some physicality towards him when he tackles guys. His tackling is fantastic. You could definitely tell it's him when he makes these tackles. It's just weird, with him. It was such a good offseason, and a guy that I did barely even talked about him that much. I mentioned that he was there at safety during camp, but I never really talked about him that much. But he really turned into something. Look, I'm not saying like he's going to get playing time this year, but I would say another year down the road, see what he could do. You know what I mean? Like, even if he becomes the number 3 role-playing safety, who cares? You know what I mean? If you have a guy in the room like this, I don't see why not. He brings a physicality to the team. He's a good tackler. He could play special teams and safety, so screw it. You might as well. So I'm happy. Obviously, Grant Calcaterra being number 1, Reed Blankenship being number 2, and Reed Blankenship was definitely somebody that kind of blinded me that was actually going to do something. And then he started to make noise. I was like, man, this guy is actually making some plays. And obviously you have the specialists in Jake Elliott, Rick the Holder, and Rick Lovato, and then Aaron Sipos, which he sucks. I hate our punter. It is what it is. And that's pretty much it. So placed on injury reserve, Greg Ward is on injured reserve. Released was Kane, Clark, Harris, Richard, Tart, Cameron, Tom. Waived was Allen, Jack Anderson, Coyote Osika, Josh Blackwell, Kennedy Brooks, Andre Shashir, Britton Covey, Christian Ellis, Mario Goodrich, Tay Gallen, John Hightower, Jason Huntley, Matt Leo, Matt McCain, Reed Sinnott, Jacoby Stevens, Carson Strong, Noah Tagai, Carrie Vincent, Marvin Wilson, and Rennell Wren. And waived with injury designation is defensive tackle Kobe Smith. So I like this roster a lot, and I think a couple things are going to change. I think when it comes to the offensive line, I think Josh Sills is definitely one guy that's probably not going to be here. If they add another body, I think they'll get rid of him. I think he's definitely up for a release, probably if they make a trade, or because they're going to add a quarterback, and I would say they're going to add another running back, and I don't know what they're doing with Rager, so that's a whole nother thing too. Jalen Rager being the number 5, I just don't believe it. I can't believe it. Okay, Howie Roseman saying all these nice things about him in the press conference. I just can't. I can't believe any of it. So it's going to be really interesting. So I just wanted to go over that really quick with you guys, and just to say what a hell of a 2022 offseason. It was fantastic. It was fun. And I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go and get this thing going. So I think more moves will be made. The waiver wire, Rager trade, looking for a signing of a running back. We need a power back. There's no way they're keeping just 3 guys. But Miles Sanders with a hamstring, I am feeling a little nervous right now, but I think we'll be fine. But other than that, let me know what you guys thought about the 53-man roster. What would you change? What wouldn't you change? And, you know, the whole Rager situation. I want to hear some of you guys in the comment section about all that great stuff. So I'll see you guys on the next video. SHAKESQUAD up, follow, slide. Peace out, guys. Peace.